bagel, lox and cream is a classic bagel combination. So that normal sort of really dense texture that you get from a bagel with some really soft cream cheese and then some normally cold smoked salmon on top, but I'm going to go with a hot smoked salmon this time. I'm going to serve it on this. This is a charcoal lavash. So it's just basically a lavash biscuit which has been coloured with charcoal. So that's what we're going to serve our lox and cream on instead of our bagel. But I want to make up a little bit of a cream cheese mixture to go on the base. So into a bowl, I need probably half of this, so about 125 grams of cream cheese. A pinch of salt. Some poppy seeds. Normally the bagel that you would have with this would be a poppy seed bagel, so we're going to put some poppy seeds in with our cream cheese mix. A little bit of whole seed mustard, and then some lemon juice, just to wet it down. We'll start with the juice of half a lemon and see how we go from there. I just want this to be nice and smooth, so I want to bring this together and see if I can get it to be a little bit smoother so it's more spreadable when it goes on top of our lavash. So I reckon I'm going to need the other half of that lemon. So we've got the juice of a whole lemon. Just wandering around the garden with Penelope like we were before. There's so many vegetables here, and I guess the idea of where Produce to the People came from, that having surplus of things and not wanting to get rid of that surplus of things, I'm going to use a technique that can, if you don't have somewhere like Produce to the People to give your surplus food, a technique that you can use to make sure you're not wasting that surplus, and that's pickling. Last bit of lemon juice. So I'm just adding this a little bit at a time, because if I thin this out too much, I'm going to end up with something that's going to run off my lavash. I want it to be spreadable. I want it to hold its position. So that's basically the consistency that I'm going for. It's a lot more spreadable now than it was before, so I'm going to be able to spread that on top of my lavash. So I'll pop that off to the side and make up my pickle. So in a bowl, I need some sugar, caster sugar, about half a cup, about 3/4 of a cup of white wine vinegar, and a little bit of water together. And you just want it until your sugar has dissolved. So the basic rule is 1 to 1 to 1. So if you're using half a cup of sugar, you'd use half a cup of vinegar and half a cup of water. With a cold pickle, you're probably going to need to use 1 to 1.5 to 1.5. So you'll end up with a little bit more of the vinegar and water. So all my sugar is dissolved. Pop that over there. I'll just put a pinch of salt in there as well. And then I want to get my cucumber ready to pickle. Chop it in half. Using a vegetable peeler, just want to peel little ribbons. And the reason I'm doing a cold pickle is because obviously I'm peeling really thin pieces of cucumber. And I don't want to cook it, I still want it to keep its crunch, or some of its crunch. So I'll take that, pop it into our pickle, and then I'll just leave that to steep for 5 to 10 minutes. Now that can then go in the fridge and you can use your pickle anytime you want. And it keeps forever. So preservation, this is the great way. If you've got a bumper crop and you can pickle anything. We've got radishes here, we could pickle that. We could pickle some chilies, pickled pumpkin, slice it really thinly or julienne it and put that in there. If you've got broccoli, you can pickle broccoli, anything.
And why does the pickle preserve veggies and fruit?
Very good question. Pickling, there's a couple of reasons. Depending on what type of pickling you're doing, there's a few reasons why pickling will preserve things. There's a lot of science involved in a pickle.
So pickling of foods is most commonly done when you add an acid to the food, most likely vinegar. But this obviously has strong flavour effects on food, and some people love it and some people hate it. But by adding this acid to the food, it basically increases the hydrogen ions, and this is a challenge for microorganisms to grow, particularly bacteria. So there's lots of different things that we can do as part of this hurdle technology, we call it, to reduce the growth or to stop the growth of bacteria. So they're kind of a combination of things. So they're each by themselves won't do the job. So they're kind of, when we combine them together, they all work and provide this hurdle, which means basically they say the bacteria have to jump these hurdles. But in essence, they're all together and make a big wall of preservation. So they're things like reducing the pH or putting acid into foods, things like vinegar and lactic acid. Also adding salt or sugar to foods to bind up the water and prevent the water from being used by the bacteria to grow. And other things like refrigeration of foods to slow down growth, or cooking of foods to try to kill the bacteria at the start. So there's lots of different things that we can do